Hey guys, welcome back. It's Lucid. We're jumping back into our game with early age Yomi. It's turn 49. And if you recall in the last episode, we had the war break out in a pretty bad way for us. And a lot of it actually came from this infernal disease that Lanka used. I mean, it might not have gone our way anyway, but it went pretty much as badly as the start to the war could go. We lost 2 air-empowered Dione, so if you haven't seen that episode, check it out. We see Lanka cloud trapezing in here. Now, if... Oh, hello. Look at this. Little wind of death trap. A wind of death is... No, that's the wrong one, buddy. Yeah, I thought he was going to do Wind of Death. Oh well, that's too bad. Nothing happens. Only Gem's wasted. Now, it's possible with Wailing Winds you can get people to just, like, auto-route. I feel like Lanka's going to win this one. If we look at both sides, you look at this, you see which one you think is going to win. We have Abyssia with the big long line of Sacreds, and then we have... And they've got, of course, Shock Resistance, Regen, Fortitude. And then we've got, they've got some Foul Spawn in the back, with some Priests, which are Holy 3 with a Fire Gem, so they can make Fire Elementals if that's what they're going to do. On Lanka's side, we have probably about twice the Sacreds. We have Wooden Warriors, which has come out, which is okay. They're still... The Fire Resistance 5 helps a lot. You don't necessarily need a ton more. I know, I guess the ones that have Wooden Warriors, they have higher protection, but they don't have any Fire Resistance, so that's how that... So we find one without it. It has fire resistance. Means their protection is going to be a little bit lower. I think it's probably better to have the higher protection here. Because the AP damage is going to have to go through your armor, and 18 armor is pretty high. Okay, we have Wailing Winds coming down. The problem, and we'll see, the problem with putting your guys in a big long line... Okay, so the good thing about putting your guys in a big long line is it's really hard to flank. The bad thing is if Lanka does mass flight, you're getting everybody completely surrounded. It's also good for kind of dodging evocations, but your formation sucks. Like, watch what happens. They're going to get all befuddled, and like there's going to be a ton of surface area, right? So yeah, these guys are just going to get crushed. Do we have any other buffs on these guys? None that are super obvious to me. He probably got the strength buff. Nope. Lanka really should be doing Bloodlust in every semi-important fight. Now, these guys do not have magic weapons. There is a version of them where you can get magic weapons. They're really expensive, though. But... if you're... it's possible they're worth it in the deep late game. So anyway, that was basically a complete wipe from Lanka. I mean, yeah, he only lost 8 Sacreds, killed all of Abyssia's stuff, so that was pretty important. We can see him fighting here. So this is his... Looks like he's just raiding another fort. Sitting on top of the PD. We are just moving this into Agartha to take his, to get... We're not attacking Agartha, we're just moving our way to Abyssia, and so he was cool with that. He'll just take it from behind me. Okay, some Fall Bears. And then down here... 1 PD here, so that's okay. It's wasting kind of an army turn. For advance, we lost some gold, we got some earth gems, lost a little bit of dominion. Okay. I think I haven't really been showing you the adventures of our Bane Venom Charm. Oh no, this isn't him. Okay. We're just scouting. Let's go check it out, because I know my Bane Venom Charm guy is just running around down here. Yeah, he's on. I haven't really been showing you, but he's sitting on top of Niflheim right now. He's got 130 stealth, so he's pretty hard to find. And he's going to wait until an army shows up. When an army shows up, he'll go somewhere else. But this is doing significant damage. It's potentially going to disease his guys too, which doesn't matter as much on giants, but it's still annoying. Once Mind Hunt and stuff comes out, this is not a good idea, because this guy will get just zapped by a Mind Hunt. But until then, it's pretty damn effective. And the reason we're doing this is because I kind of wanted to spoil this land, since we're aiming to fight up here, and then after that we're probably going to fight these guys. So, or I'm not sure, but I mean, Abyssia is going to be on this planet, so it kind of means this is probably our final war, which means despoiling this is probably good. I don't really want to despoil stuff that we're going to take later. We've been casting Voice of Apsu. We found Lantern Fens, and I think this is a fire site. Yeah, I think it's an interesting site because you get it from water, but it gives you fire gems. And I think that's it. So let's talk about what the board looks like. So the Raven is just jumping wherever the fuck it feels like, and it is up here. I'm not sure where it's going to go next, but we can see this fort is now sieged down. Abyssia does have an army here, but it will be able to potentially check it off next time. And there's an army here which can come kind of knock this army off. But Lanka has a lot of flexibility. He can, for example, fly his Raven down here and send his army up here, or something like that, which, you know, would be hard to predict. And then these guys would be stuck fighting the Raven. It's possible they kill the Raven, because these devils are motherfuckers. Possibly even likely. He needs to do turn 1 Iron Skin. But it's also possible the Raven could kill all of them. So I'm not sure how that will go, we'll see. Devils are one of the things that can kill the Raven. Most things are not going to be able to, and that's because he's going to fatigue it out. Okay, we've got our big army here, which is going to be moving up this way, and I think what Lanka and I have coordinated is I'm going to basically focus on this planet, and Lanka is basically going to focus on this top part of the planet. And there will be some overlap, but really I'm going to kind of come through here. So I think Lanka's going to kind of chase this army this way, and then I'm going to just move up this way. So that's basically the plan. For longer range movement, we've got... I'm just sending in a thug over here, or really a super combatant, and he should hopefully... We haven't seen any assassins yet, so I'm not totally sure what's going on. We're adding a Deathcaster to this army, Lord Varion, who we've given a death booster and some death gems. He can potentially do like Rigor Mortis, or he can also do Skeletal Legion, which isn't bad. And he can do Life After Death, which isn't bad. So there's a bunch of options he can do. I'm not sure what we're actually going to script. I probably should have scripted him because, you know, reasons. Up here we have... So we have kind of an interesting situation here. I've got this guy coming in. He can do Mass Flight without a booster. So basically he's just going to be dropping Mass Flight. And because he has this Storm in a Bottle, which is one of the items from Lucid's Thematic Gem Gen, he can do a lot of Mass Flights. Because it's every time he casts it, it's going to use 2 of these, and then it'll use... I guess... But maybe he can't do it. Maybe I have to wait. Let's see, because I think Mass Flight actually is going to take... I think you need 4. Or no, you can do 3 and 3 gems. Okay, so he can do it. Yeah. So basically we're going to have a Mass Flight capable army up here, which is going to make a big difference, especially when we're doing things like Marble Warriors and all that. Yeah, so that's where this army's coming. So that's basically it. I mean, if we look at it... I think this was where the Abyssian army was, right? So it got kind of crushed. I'm not sure what else he has. I don't think this is all that Abyssia has. I mean, 38 cap-only Sacreds is a lot. But we're at turn 50, so he, you know, he could have a couple hundred. I don't know where they are. We see some down here. And there might be a few more on this planet, but hopefully for him, he has some more up here, because we're going to be coming through in a hurry. And if this is all he's got, he's in trouble. Now, the other thing that Agartha did tell me is that Henom had just killed a big Abyssian group, I think, or a big Rusian group. I'm not sure. They had some significant losses in that previous war. So this timing may work out really well for us. Did I go through all these? I think I did. Yeah. Let's go through the next turn. So turn 50. The game turned 50 years old today. Okay. Voice of Apsu. Okay, so he just attacks. So Lanka is really doing a ton of raiding. And this is one area where, especially since my air-empowered Dione have died, I'm not really going to be able to raid him. Here's one of Lanka's raiders. This would be a good example. So these guys are actually okay, especially if they have that Venomous Bite. Fire Flare is okay. There's a lot of things that are kind of okay. Like this guy can probably do Fire Elemental. Okay, what happened was this guy routed, and so that's going to make this Fire Elemental just fall apart. So it's a kind of interesting little script. Har is attacking Abyssia, which I guess Lanka is casting. I'm definitely not casting it. This is a really good Lesser Horror roll, by the way. These guys are pretty sick. Especially if you get a lot of them, and they tend to kind of come in clumps. They have Fear, and they have Regeneration, and they're Pierce resistant. They're pretty solid. I mean, they'll die against an army, obviously, but they're pretty good at handling PD. Okay, so Abyssia marches, and he is running into a Lankan Chaff army. Okay, so we see a few things come up. Foul Vapors and Natural Rain. Now, Foul Vapors is going to be cast by Lanka. They have Regeneration, so it's not going to be quite as good. We have Darkness, which is actually only kind of meh against Abyssia, because they have lesser Dark Vision. We'll turn on Team Colored Squares so we can kind of see better, and I'll zoom in a little bit. So if we look at the stats of these guys, in Darkness they have basically no defense, which is hilarious, I think. Defense of 1. So literally every single attack is going to hit. They have really good protection, though. Once they go Berserk, it's 20, which is pretty damn solid. But their attack is 14, which is pretty good, but we have pretty high defense. So basically only like half of their attacks are going to hit. Every single one of ours are going to hit. And we have Awe, so even less than half of theirs are going to hit. Awe, these guys have... Oh, no, they have Berserk, so Awe's going to mostly be ignored. For some of them that... Oh, I get... How are they all Berserk already? Some of them aren't, but a lot of them are. Oh, Foul Vapors is sending them all Berserk. So what I expect is going to happen just looking at this is, like, there's a very good chance that Lanka loses this, but that most of Abyssia's stuff is going to die from Foul Vapors. That's kind of what I would predict. This chaff is just going to burn up against the fire shields. For those of you who don't know, these burning ones, they have a built-in heat aura and a fire shield. And so the fire shield is just going to destroy undead chaff. Okay, and Lanka is now routing because Foul Vapors, I think... No, Foul Vapors is still up. Natural Rain and Darkness. Natural Rain is really good against Abyssia, too. Okay, this is a thug. Who is probably not long for this world. Oh, he flies away, though. Foul Vapors is running. Foul Vapors caster. this little bit of extra chaff is actually going to go a long way. Now, if you have a vampire with this stuff on him, it doesn't even almost matter that they're immortal, because this is a huge investment. And he's almost definitely going to die. Now the question is, how much of their stuff dies after the battle? Not very much. So that was a pretty good battle for Abyssia. He lost a lot, you know, so he lost both of his commanders, and these are cap-only expensive guys, I think. And again, about half of these burning ones. So it was bad because Lanka lost. The only thing that Lanka really lost that he cares about was one of the Raksharajas and one of the Vampire Lords, and everything else was super replaceable. But he had really good items. I mean, the Vampire Lord's replaceable, but the items on it, he had about like 50 death gems of items on it, which they're not going to get picked up by Abyssia since nobody's there, but it's a loss nevertheless. But this may have been a worse trade for Abyssia, just because he doesn't have a ton of burning ones, and he's losing a lot of them. Okay, next battle we see Lanka has Father Illerth out. Let's go just check out his kit. Yeah, gonna be pretty hard to kill. Vine Shield, he's blessed, so he's sacred, has awe, huge amount of regeneration, a stone bird, which is mostly for dealing with thugs, and then a girdle of might. I guess this is just for MR. So, not an extremely scary chassis. I mean, an extremely scary kit, but it's going to be hard to kill nevertheless. Okay, let's see what happens here. So, okay, basically that was a gym baiting attack. Okay. So Russ is attacking Lanka. They've got a big army with a bunch of devils, so we'll see if these devils actually... this may go badly for Lanka. So we have Wailing Winds come up. This guy has a Ring of Returning, so if he gets hit, he's just going to jump back. Okay. Soul Vortex. Iron Skin. Fatigue 45. This is, and I don't think we realized it until this point, but the fatigue play from the Barbed Tails is actually what's really good about the Devils. We're already up at 93. Now we're healing a lot from reinvigoration and all of this business, but... yeah, this is not what you want to send the Raven in against. And even things like Phoenix Pyre, which we do have cast, are not going to help. Because when you fatigue them out like this, there is no saving them. So if you're fighting Laistragonian Tyrants or any of that business, or even like Dione can do it too, Phoenix Pirate guys, Devils are a pretty good counter. And fatigue's 200, and so we're basically just going to die. And this is with Soul Vortex up, so kind of crazy. Now the reason my Dione actually may have survived is because if we look at Barbed Tail, it only does effect on damage, so you have to do damage. And the Barbed Tail is not a hugely damaging weapon. It's only 12, but it's piercing. So what does that mean? It means that they've got to get through... this is going to be counted as, what, 21 times 0.8? So it's going to be like 16 protection, because it's piercing damage. But then we're going to have the additional chance, because we're fatigued. Once you get fatigued out, you're much more likely to have criticals happen. So anyway, but like 12 damage can get through 16, but kind of not terribly well. So at the beginning, he didn't get a lot of fatigue, but once he got fatigued and then the criticals started hitting, he got a lot. So the Dione potentially could survive if they got through their buff script from that earlier battle, if they got Iron Skin and Legions of Steel off. But the Raven, and this is one of the problems with low slot chassis, you can't get their protection that high. It just isn't going to happen. So Phoenix Pyronii pops. Yeah, so the Raven dies. But we can just summon him back. But that is a loss. Because this isn't our Pretender, it's a Disciple, our Bless is going to stay active, so that's important. If you were to play with that guy as your, like, Expander or something, you would have... Or your god, you would have some issues when he dies like that. But for us, it's okay. We get an Enchanted Helmet and a Flambeau, which is a nice weapon to have. Ill-Earth deals with some barbs. And I think that's it for this turn. I think we'll go ahead and do another turn. I want to go ahead and keep this thing going. So here's my big Oni army, right? And it is... Actually, I think we'll do another turn in another episode. Because I still have to talk about the end of this turn. Then it'll be pretty late. So we're going to move it in here, and we've got Mass Flight scripted. Thank God I don't completely hose up the script. And we should one turn pop this. But there's a big Rusian army here, and it's hard to know because he's got threats coming in from all sides now. He's got this army which could come in, he's got this army. Also, you can see that Lanka's been assassinating these guys. I'll just show you. I think these are all infernal diseases. He's been just spamming these out. Okay, and that guy survives, but he probably got diseased. Yeah. Try again. Okay, they got him, and then this one. Okay. So 2 for 3, not bad. The good thing about assassinating armies when they're moving is it's highly likely you get them to leave troops behind. So like he was chasing them, and then if he got one of the commanders that was leading troops, then there would have been a brigade left that he would have killed pretty easily. So they wouldn't be buffed or anything, they would just be basically left behind. We're moving another army in here, and we're just going to pour through this. In fact, it is possible we move here and then we immediately move here without even storming the fort, even if we could, because we've got another army that's going to come in from behind. Yeah, and we lost 3 air-empowered Dionies. That was a really bad start to the war. I really wish I had them to keep running them around. We're probably going to make another one pretty soon. Okay, yeah, I have another one. So we have Tylus, who we've improved our kit for. We've got a Faithful and a Bloodthorn, and both of these are going to help deal with fatigue issues. The Bloodthorn is like a link to 0, so even on a big unit, it will only be linked 1. And we've got an Iron Face, so we can remove part of our script. We do have Shocked Vulnerability, but as soon as we get our Bless off, that will go away, and I'm not really worried about lightning stuff from Abyssia. And this guy is going to deal with Abyssia. He's also going to be largely immune. Okay, I want to be careful saying that. He's going to be very resistant to Assassins, and that's because he has 2 attacks. None of them are going to repel, so we don't have the repel thing, but we have very high defense. And we're going to have Iron Skin on us, and Iron Skin is going to do a little bit to kind of help with it. The other thing is, a Flying Shield, if he casts it in the Assassination, and Temper Flesh, is going to go a long way to reducing Holy Scourge damage, especially in conjunction with just having base high protection. So, he is going to 261, which is right here. We're going to go sit on top of this fort. If we have a big battle here, it will mean he'll lose some more guys as he... if he retreats. And I think that's about it. We'll just take a quick look around and see what's going on. We've got a fair amount of guys here. This is about ready to birth another army. We're at 250. And this one is back up at 150. And this one is at 180. So, yeah, it's getting ready. Our income is okay. We're basically able to make... Oh, I guess I had Dione turned off for a turn, which was a mistake. We're able to make an Oni Shugo or 2 a turn, is basically what it comes down to, but not much. Most of our recruitment centers are shut down. So I think this is worth thinking about when you're playing Yomi. You don't really need a ton of infrastructure. Like, normally you're only able to get palisades, so you need more, just in the sense that, they have half the production for mages. But we're not even recruiting out of half of our forts because we're so freaking poor. So there you go. One thing I don't know. So Yomi has a 25% income malice. I assume it's additive with other income malices. Which kind of makes it a bigger deal for trashing your scales. Because like a 25% malice is big, but if you take like a 25% malice in your scales, and then you get a 25% on top of it, it makes it 50. And so like the difference between 50 and 75 is like, basically if you have 75, that's 50% more income than 50. So it could mean that scales are even more important on Yomi. I'll have to think about that. But I think it's possible to definitely take a much lighter bless. The thing that I think you would have trouble giving up on if you want to use Dione is not having a researcher when you kind of start the game. So, not sure on the optimal build for Yomi, but I'm pretty sure this isn't it. And I will have thoughts on that at the end of the game. And I mean, I finished the game at this point, but I will have some thoughts on a way to do it better. Because I think this is like very far from optimal, but no spoilers. Okay, and I think that's it for this episode. Thank you guys. I'll see y'all next time.